Hey guys, thank you very much for joining me today. I am going to be discussing kind of my 2023 reading results. I'm going to be going over how many books I read total, the best books, the worst books. My original plan was to do 10 of each. It became apparent pretty quickly on that was not going to happen. I could have very easily done 20 best and 20 worst. I figured let's split it. I went 15. So today, very quickly, I'm going to be going over those 30 books total. I've already talked about them in my monthly reads where I go into more details on them. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give kind of a few points, summarize them today, and then move on. My goal in 2023 was to read 100 books. I did meet that goal. I did exceed it by one book. I read 101 books in 2023, really went above and beyond with that one extra book there. So let's get into it. We'll start with the worst. Let's start with the worst so we can end on a positive note. These are the books that I do not have any longer because I've DNF'd them. Not DNF, I'm sorry. I've unhauled them. So I read them. I didn't like them. I got rid of them. These are the books I no longer physically have. So first of all, what I talk about when I talk about running. It's supposed to be a love letter to running. I found it was more complaining about running. Second book I no longer have is Cackle. I read this book early this year. I think it was like January or February. I went on for a long time about how I didn't like that book and specifically the things I didn't like. But it all boils down to kind of unlikable protagonist, super obsessed with being in a relationship, kind of meets a witch, very toxic friendship, gets powerful but not in any sort of meaningful way. Nope, didn't like it. Next we have Squirrel Seeks Chipmunk. Poor David Sedaris. I did not mean to go on and on. I've gotten rid of so many books this year and I've only read that one. Just really dislike that one. It's pretty much about showing human stories through animals and proving that everyone is awful. Next we have A Time to Kill. This book took everything I loved from the movie, like all the heart, and just kind of ripped it out. It's all the bad lawyer jokes rolled into one and proven right. Very unsatisfying. Next we have Saint X. This was another murder mystery that just kind of felt unnecessary. It wasn't that exciting. I didn't like any of the protagonists. It was very forced plot. Not my thing. Now, I think the rest of the books I do physically still own. Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I recently complained about this one. A lot of filler, a lot of misogyny. It's about a vampire. How can a vampire be boring? It's just, I wanted so much more. Out of the Silent Planet. I love C.S. Lewis. I very much dislike this C.S. Lewis book. How can a man being kidnapped from Earth and being transferred to another planet, how can that be really dry and bland and boring? Somehow it managed. The Stranger. This is supposed to be a very deep book. I didn't quite take it that way. About a man who kills a stranger on a beach. Nothing really matters. His actions don't matter. The consequences don't matter. He doesn't believe in anything. He's gonna die. Who cares? Didn't like it. Anyway, The Wind Blows. This was the final book in the Simon Snow series. Who was the big bad in this book? I don't know. The goal was to get everyone in a romantic relationship. It succeeded in that regard. I failed in most of the other ones. The Dinner, a thriller about terrible parents and their terrible children. Neon Gods, this is a Hades and Persephone romance. Very predictable, very rushed. The world is very confusing. No. This one kind of hurts me. The Year of Magical Thinking. Everyone loves this book. It won the National Book Award. So many good reviews on Goodreads. I just didn't get it. And it really hurts me to say that because this is a memoir about grief. I don't want to dislike a book that a woman writes about going through the year after the death of her husband. It just didn't, for that topic, there was just no emotional connection. I'm very sorry. Horns. A man wakes up after a bender. He's got horns on his head. It gives him kind of supernatural power, influence over people. It was just very dark, not in a way that I liked, very cynical. No. The Starless Sea. I'm sorry, everyone. I've got no clue what went on in this book. The plot is beyond me. I don't know. And then these two I'm kind of including as one. This is A Heart So Fierce and Broken and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. Loved this first book in the series. These two just went in a direction I did not like. Very strange. Didn't like it. I'm not giving very much detail about the books I didn't like. I'm just kind of making a pain face and saying no. Okay, let's move on because I don't want this to be a super long video. These are the books that I liked the most. We got some good ones this year. Notes on an Execution. So good. This is about a serial killer and it's told through the perspective of 3 females in his life, his mother, one of the detectives, and his victim's twin sister. Beautiful writing, really haunting, cannot recommend enough. The Glass Castle. This is a memoir about the author's kind of unusual childhood. Her father was an alcoholic. I think her mother had some sort of mental illness. They were always trying to keep ahead of the creditors. Heartbreaking, complicated love, good stuff. Of Mice and Men, this is a really short, easy read. My first John Steinbeck novel. So heartbreaking, ending so sad. Really good kind of simplistic writing, very easy to get through. Hero of Ages, this is the conclusion to the Mistborn series. Really good fantasy, good action, good magic system, good characters. Charles, don't even think about it. In a Dark, Dark Wood, a woman accepts an invitation to a hen party from a friend she has not seen in many years. And this happens in a dark, dark wood. Very isolated, very creepy. Things start happening. The past isn't as it appears. Keeps you hooked. Why Fish Don't Exist. This is the story of a controversial scientist, David Starr Jordan, through the eyes of a journalist, the author Lulu Miller, who was looking for inspiration. Cloud Atlas. What to say about this book that has not already been said? Lots of different POVs, but it's good this time. Lots of different time periods, reoccurring, hard-hitting themes, beautiful writing. People We Meet on Vacation, a romance that is actually pretty good. 2 friends meet every year for a vacation. Something happened one year where there was drama. Now they're trying to see if they can kind of resuscitate this relationship to go on one more vacation. Gilded Cage, modern day UK. There exist 2 different classes of people, the equals and then normal people. The equals have supernatural abilities that kind of set them as the upper tier of society. Normal people who don't have these abilities are subject to 10 years of hard labor. This is the story of 2 families, one on each side of that line. Really good, really interesting, good world. The Bell Jar. This is pretty much Sylvia Plath's struggle with depression come to life in a really visceral way. Her writing is just so unique and hard-hitting. So good. The House in the Cerulean Sea. This is a story about a man with a really boring kind of gray life who is sent to an island to investigate these magical children. He falls in love. He comes back to life. The world is a better place. The Smaller Evil. A boy with anxiety attends a self-help retreat. Something happens. Can I help you, young sir? Something happens with the camp's leader that makes the boy question reality. Did this happen? Did it not? Is he going insane? You'll find out. The Women of Troy. This was so good. This is the sequel to Silence of the Girls. It's about what happens after the siege of Troy, after the city falls. It's told from the perspective of the women in camp. Just so good. Just do yourself a favor and read The Silence of the Girls and The Women of Troy. We have The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is about art and beauty and vanity and ego and consequences of actions. Really good. I keep saying really good writing, but I mean, these books are written really well, like the ones that I like. Obviously, plays a big part in it. Just beautiful sentences, though. Good story, heartbreaking. I can see why this is a classic. I'm glad I finally read it. Oh, wait, there's one more. So I read this book in December, so it's over in my December pile, and that is The Power. I'll stick it somewhere up here. I do physically have that one, but it's across the room and I'm too lazy to grab it right now. When women possess the ability of electricity, the power dynamics of the world shifts. It doesn't turn out as well as you think it might. And that's it. I knew I had forgotten one. Thank you guys very much. Let me know which of these books you have read. If you had a different opinion than I did, maybe. I have a feeling some of the books I didn't like, other people really do. But that's the great thing about reading, is everyone can have a different opinion. Thank you guys again for sticking with me through 2023. I'm excited to start new books 2024. I've got a big old list. We're going to see how that goes. But I hope you guys have a good Christmas, good New Year's, and I will see you next time. Bye.